In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to attach a wood framing stud to concrete. Find out how coming up next. What's going on, folks? Kendall here with Renos for Pros and Joes, helping you simplify the renovation and remodeling process. On this channel, we do hands-on product, tool, and gear reviews, as well as renovation tip and strategy videos like this one. So if you're interested in renovation, remodeling, repair, real estate, or home maintenance, then subscribe, because this channel and this content is for you. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you 3 different ways to attach a wood framing stud to concrete. Now, I know that this is not the type of stud that typically would be attached to concrete. In real life, you want to use one that is rated for ground contact. That one is going to be a green or a blue color. This is just a regular framing stud. However, for demonstration purposes, it will do just fine. Just remember to get the right one when you do yours on your project. So I've got 3 different techniques for attaching this stud to concrete. We're going to do our project outside today for demonstration purposes only, and I'm going to show you the 3 different type of attachments that we're going to be using. So let's run through the 3 different methods we're going to be using today to attach this stud to the concrete. So the first way that we can attach it is using a masonry nail, also known as hand drive nails. Let me hold up just one there so you can see what it looks like. It kind of look like small spikes. You're going to use a standard framing hammer to just drive these into the stud and through into the concrete. The second technique that we're going to be using is going to be a concrete screws. In order to drive these screws into the concrete, you're going to first have to drill a pilot hole in the concrete and then use your drill or your driver to drive the nails in place, or screws, sorry. And then finally, we've got our framing nails here that are also designed to go into concrete. Now, these are going to be driven by a powder actuated nailer, and I will show you that here in just a minute. The type of applications where you would be using these typically would be this type of application for our masonry nails would be ideal if you're only going to be doing just a few applications or a few nails that you need to drive. If you're going to be doing something that's more specialized, let's say that you're going to be trying to attach a floor-mounted faucet to a concrete floor, you may want to use something more like a screw like this. Or if you're trying to do something like a specialty project where you need to attach something to concrete and you maybe make sure that it stays in the exact location, this may be a good application for these type of screws. And then finally, this type of nail is going to be more ideal when you're doing more production style jobs. Let's say that you're going to be framing up a room or framing up an addition that's on a concrete slab and you need to drive a lot of nails, then this is going to be the type of nail that you want to use along with a powder actuated nailer. So enough talking, let's jump into it. All right, so we've got this small little pad here of concrete that we can demonstrate on here. Typically, when you're going to be driving hand drive nails and even using the powder actuated nailer, you're typically going to be expecting to be doing that on relatively fresh concrete. This is super old concrete, so it may not be as easy to drive these nails in by hand. We're going to try it anyway and see how it does. We're going to start off with the hand drive nails, then we're going to jump to the screws, and then we will finish up with the powder actuated nailer. So let's jump into it. So there's the first nail that I drove in right there. You probably can't see it, but you can see we're already locked in pretty good there. Then we're going to go on to our next one. Whew. Didn't eat my Wheaties this morning. First one looks so smooth. Let's try this again. That's 2. Real sloppy hammering there, by the way. Okay, so that's 3. We'll pretend like you didn't see me drive that one. You can see with just those 3 nails that it doesn't move that much. So come down here on this end, it's in there pretty stiff. So let's move on to the next technique, which is going to be driving our screws. Okay, so now we're on to our second technique, which is going to be using our concrete screws here, the blue ones, remember, and then we've got 3 different bits here that we're going to attempt to use to drive our pilot holes into this concrete. I say attempt because all 3 of these are older bits, and so that's why I've brought all 3 in case 1 or 2 of them are too dull. In order to make our holes, we're still gonna try to have some success here. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug up the drill here and put the bit in, and then we'll see how well we do with drilling our pilot holes. We'll call this one a fail. All right, you just saw me really struggling to try to drill those holes into the concrete with that bit that was really dull, and I didn't really have the right drill. So I'm actually fast forwarding into the future, and as you can see, I've got on the same pants, but I've got on a different shirt, different hat, different shoes. So it's a different day. We are going to do the concrete screws, and then I'm gonna take you back in time to finish up with the nailing tool. So let's jump into it. As you can see here, I've got a drill that is appropriately sized for the type of project we're going to be working on right here. I've also taken the time to pick up a new bit to use, and then I also have the proper size chuck and a wood bit of the same size to drill our pilot holes. That way we don't run the risk of damaging our concrete bit or giving it more wear than is necessary just to drill through the 2x4. So let's jump into it. Let's start by attaching our bit for our pilot holes. I'm gonna go ahead and drill all 3 pilot holes first, just to save time. And then we'll move on to the next phase. All right, ready to go now. Okay. So as you can see, I just drilled 3 pilot holes with my 3/16 bit, and that is a wood bit. So now we're ready to plunge all the way through into the concrete with our concrete bit. So let's go ahead and set up for that one. I'm gonna get you guys set up a little bit closer so you can see what this looks like a little bit more clearly. All right, so we've got our pilot bit done. Let's go ahead and loosen this thing up. Take that wood bit out, and then we're going to go ahead and put in our 3/16 carbide tip bit, specifically for drilling into concrete and masonry like bricks and cement blocks. So we're going to go ahead and get that in there and get that started. Use that chuck. I was really having a whole lot of difficulty the other day doing this, so there we go with that. You can see that tip there kind of fans out. This one's gold, but it's actually a little bit thicker, and it's kind of like square on the side, so it's quite a bit different than the way that this wood bit looks, if you can see that. So we'll go ahead and do the first hold. We're all the way down through there, and now we're actually touching concrete here. see all that dust that's coming out there? That's concrete dust. We went all the way through on that one. Let's go ahead and do the next one. That one's really struggling to go through. Let's try this one. Let's see if we can go all the way through this one. You can see that tip there. It is cooked. So it's just in that hole spinning, but it's not actually cutting anymore. All right, I'm back. And so now I've got our concrete anchors or concrete screws. We're gonna simply place them in each one of these holes that we've drilled all the way through. And then we're going to use our Phillips head bit and secure them in place, going through the 2x4 stud and securely into the concrete. So if you notice, we've got these 3 holes here. 2 holes went all the way through and 1 only went through partially, which highlights some of the shortcomings that you may have with using the drill bit. The drill bit burnt up prematurely. However, I can say that this concrete is very old, and the older the concrete gets, the harder that it gets. And so if you're doing something like pouring concrete for an addition, and you're going to be framing up walls and putting your plates down and attaching it to that, then you probably aren't going to run into this type of problem, because the concrete is still fresh and it's going to be a lot easier to work with than a piece of concrete like this that has been poured a gazillion years ago, and who knows what's inside of it. So let's jump into the next phase of this, which is going to be installing these screws. I'm going to swap out bits here, rotate the drill bit out, and then I'm going to put the screwdriver bit in here and get this Phillips head going. Got that secured and snugged up. Let's get in a little bit closer so you guys can see what's going on. So remember that we've got the 3 holes. These 2 are good. This one is no good. All right, so we've got 2 in there. I want to take a second just to show you what this type of anchor looks like here. We won't even attempt to deal with that one. All right, that concludes our concrete screw demo. Let's go back to the powder actuated tool, which I was doing previously. So, see you in a few. All right, so here's our powder actuated tool, nailer here. This runs on charges like this. Take our charge, get that thing in there. Got it in there. So now we've got our charge there. So let me show you what this tool looks like. We can adjust the strength here. We're going to turn it up to 4 since we're going to be driving some pretty long nails into this concrete. And then here's the trigger here. Just engage it here. There's also a different attachment that you can put on here so that you can load multiple nails in here at the same time. We're driving 3-inch nails, which are kind of long. So we're going to be loading those each one by one here through the front end of the nailer, and then we're going to hold it in place, and then we're going to drive. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, got 5 there, and we've got 10 charges here already loaded into the nailer. So let's just see how that goes. Get you guys zoomed in so you can see this one up close. All right, so we've got everything in place here. As I said, we've already got our charges loaded in there. You can see them there the tab sticking out on the top. So now we're just going to go ahead and put in our first nail. Hold that in place there. There's one. Two. Three. Four. As you can see here, this one drove in further for some reason, but these are all in here. Good. 4. 5. All right, folks, so I successfully showed you how to attach a wood framing stud to concrete using hand drive masonry nails as well as a powder actuated tool. Had a real failure with regards to drilling those pilot holes with the masonry bit, and I believe that the real problem there was that the bit was just too dull and too damaged to be able to drill anymore. So the lesson and the takeaway from that is, whenever you're going to be doing that type of project, always make sure that you have a new masonry bit ready to go, because you never know when your old one is going to have drilled its last hole. So hopefully you found this video informative. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want information on any of the tools that you saw in the video today, it will be in the link in the description box below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.